How was the My Lai Massacre investigation suppressed? Have you ever wondered how a horrific event like the My Lai Massacre could be hidden from the public for so long? The investigation into this tragedy was not just a simple oversight. It involved deliberate actions at various command levels. After the massacre in March 1968, initial reports from Vietnamese officials about the killings were largely ignored or downplayed by United States military leadership. The local chain of command, including officers from the American Division and Task Force Barker, actively worked to cover up what happened. They falsified reports and failed to conduct thorough investigations right after the event. This was not just a failure of communication, it was a concerted effort to keep the truth from surfacing. A key moment came when Chief Warrant Officer Hugh Thompson, a helicopter pilot, intervened during the massacre. He rescued civilians and reported the incident up his chain of command. However, instead of being celebrated, the military tried to silence him. They offered him a medal, which he rejected, seeing it as a ploy to suppress the truth rather than a genuine acknowledgement of his bravery. The cover-up began to unravel in 1969 when Ron Ridenhour, a former soldier, sent a detailed letter about the massacre to President Richard Nixon and other top officials. This letter prompted a formal Army investigation led by Lieutenant General William Pierce. His inquiry revealed that there were deliberate omissions and failures to report the massacre from the company level up to division command. Pierce's report named around 30 individuals who either suppressed evidence or failed to investigate properly. Despite these findings, the Army faced significant challenges in prosecuting those responsible. Charges were brought against 14 officers, but most cases were dismissed due to lack of evidence or procedural issues. Only Lieutenant William Calley was convicted, receiving a reduced sentence and eventually being released after serving a few years under house arrest. Other officers, including higher-ranking ones like Captain Ernest Medina and Lieutenant Colonel Frank Henderson, were acquitted or had charges dropped. The suppression of the investigation highlighted broader issues in the Vietnam War, such as poor leadership and inadequate training. The military culture at the time sometimes dehumanized Vietnamese civilians, treating entire regions as hostile, free-fire zones. These conditions contributed to both the massacre and the subsequent efforts to hide it. When the public learned about the massacre and its cover-up, it significantly eroded American support for the war. This event remains a complex and troubling chapter in the history of United States military operations in Vietnam.